what was the reception you got from Speaker Ryan on that?
You know, I got the perception that many people think that they've decided without the rest of us. And my point was that conservatives are not on board. My message to the Speaker was, I think he's going to need to talk to the conservatives. My message to the Senate Republicans, they need to not ignore Senate conservatives. It's a very narrow margin, and I don't want to get to the last minute where something gets shipped over from the House that has Obamacare light, and they're saying that's all you get. You can't amend it, either vote for it or you're a renegade. I'm just not voting for partial repeal.
All right. Now, whether that means that Speaker Paul Ryan, what he announced today, is going to be that Obamacare light, anyone's guess. But the Speaker, about 45 minutes ago, indicating that they will, where Republicans introduce legislation to, he says, repeal and replace Obamacare after the President's Day recess, so early next week. Now, does that mean 2 in 1? You get the repeal measure and the replacement measure at the same time, which Rand Paul has been advocating. In fact, Rand Paul says he has such a piece of legislation ready to go. Let's ask House Freedom Caucus Member Ted Yoho, of course, also on that push to get repeal and replace going. Sir, very good to have you. Are you in that camp that Senator Paul is in? I know he addressed your group saying this is the way to go about it. Don't accept just Obamacare light out of the House.
No, I agree with that. And, you know, every Republican that's in the House or the Senate today, every one of them ran to repeal and replace Obamacare. This is a mandate from the American people, and this will happen. I have confidence. You know, politics is ugly. We're going through the ugly stage of it right now. But when we come out of this, it'll be gone.
Repeal, in other words, I understand the repeal part, but repeal and replace simultaneously?
That's our goal. We met with Tom Price this morning, and Tom said our whole goal, and the President's 100% behind this, is to go ahead, repeal and replace. And, you know, it's going to take a moment of time. And the thing that the American people need to know, that you're not going to lose coverage unless we keep going down the path we are, because you saw Humana pulled out, and there's not going to be any insurers left.
You're referring to the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Price. Sitting there, Tom Price. Do you know whether he is of the opinion it's better to do what Rand Paul wants to do, presumably what you want to do, Congressman, that is to get a repeal and replace measure out there away?
Yeah, in fact, Tom was the one, Congressman Price, or Secretary Price, I got to get his new title straight.
Right.
Secretary Price was saying, that their goal is to do the repeal and replace. That's what the President wants to do. That's what we want to do. And so we're going to work through that, and, you know, we'll get it done right. I have confidence in the people that are up here. Everybody's behind doing that. So I think it's going to be a good thing.
Now then, clear the deck for the tax cut package, or what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and again, this is something that's just common sense. Over 70% of Republicans, Democrats, Independents want our tax code gone. And Kevin Brady has done a great job of working through this. They've got it pretty much teed up, and it's just there's some parts that have to be worked out yet. But I think overall it's going to be a good thing, and it's going to be a boom to the economy. And you think of what Obamacare has done to the economy and our restrictive tax code, along with the rules and regulations, and you've seen already the regulations that were reeling back, that were burdensome to the businesses and the startup companies. And so these are things that we're going through. We're going through growth, and anytime you go through growth or change, you know, people get upset and they're a little bit nervous, but at the end you're going to see it have a good product.
All right, when you were talking about Kevin Brady, the House Ways and Means Chief, when he was with us last week, sir, one of the things he said is it's going to be comprehensive. It's going to be corporate taxes addressed and cut dramatically, as well as individual tax rates addressed, cut dramatically. How soon do you think those would be in effect? I know it's a gut call on your part. There are a lot of other pieces and parts at play, but what do you think?
I think you're going to see something presented within the first 100 or 200 days. When it goes into effect depends on the rules and the regulations. But you look at the 70-some thousand pages we have. To get rid of that, bring the IRS into the 21st century, and to go from the 7 different individual tax rates down to 3, for the majority of people, probably 90% of the American people, their tax return will be a postcard. And this is something people have fought for and we've wanted, and I commend Kevin Brady and the whole Ways and Means Committee to coming together and doing this. And as you know, it brings our corporate tax rates down to 20%, which is going to invite businesses back here.
You know, we're waiting for the president. He's going to announce, presumably, Sir Alexander Acosta as his new labor secretary pick. And after the soap opera with Andy Podster and all, many are looking at that and saying, all right, well, if it is Acosta, of course, a prominent Hispanic businessman, a former assistant attorney general, a member of the National Labor Relations Board, a lot of talk about whether he would be as aggressive as, let's say, Andy Podster was, inviting some controversy there about holding off on big, hourly wage increases, the kind of stuff that stuck in the craw of a lot of unions, and that the president might be relieved that Podster kind of imploded, and that this choice, if it is indeed Mr. Acosta, is going to be less vigilant on that front to continue the advance that the president has made with unions who've been very complimentary of him. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a good sign, and we'll have to see how this plays out, where his policies are. And I think it was good that Mr. Pudsner, backed out, with the controversy around him, and he did the right thing, and I commend him for doing that. But you brought something up, and I heard the person on the previous segment saying, about the Hispanic. That shouldn't matter, and I hope people start looking at that. We're Americans. Let's all be Americans together and do what's best for the country. And let's give this guy a chance.
Do you think that the president, nevertheless, was aware of that criticism for whatever reason and said, well, it's going to be
I think you'd have to ask him. I'm sure they vetted him and they knew where he stood.
I wanted to put you in a trap right there, Congressman.
You're good at that. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Great seeing you.
Hey, thank you. Have a great day.